Hey everybody, back with another video today. Today is Proverbs 21 of the Proverb series. We're reading in the New King James Version today. So, start with verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, like the rivers of water. He turns it wherever he wishes. This is saying that God is king over all, even the rulers of this world, even the kings of this world. God is in control of everything. He's the King of Kings. Verse 2. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the hearts. See, God knows the intent of someone's heart. They may be doing good, they may be doing good things, but God knows if they're doing it out of selfish ambition or if they're doing it because they genuinely want to do good in the glory of his name. God knows your intention. Verse 3. To do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. See, God would rather you do loving and good works. He'd rather see that out of you than these religious rituals that we do. For example, you know, there's, we could pray and we can read the Bible, and that could be but are you doing that because you're doing it with love and you want to learn, or are you just doing it as a ritual act? Just, oh, I got to do this, I got to do this. Or are you going to church because you actually want to go to church, or are you just doing it because, oh, I got to go to church? See, God would rather you do loving acts, and in everything you do it in a loving way. See, whenever I go to church, I go because I want to learn. I want to be with God. I want to worship His name. I don't just go to church because, oh, I gotta go. It's Sunday. No, I want to go because I want to be in the house of the Lord and hear His word and worship His name. Verse 4: A haughty look, a proud heart, and the plowing of the wicked are sin. So someone who is selfish in their ways and proud of their ways, they think that they don't need nobody. They're proud of who they are. They don't need nothing from nobody. That's sinful, and we need to surrender to God. We need to surrender everything we got to God. Verse 5: The plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty. Be a diligent person. Have the discipline. Motivation, you don't necessarily need motivation. What's more important is discipline, to get up and do it anyway. And that will lead to plenty. Being diligent leads to plenty. So work hard regardless of your circumstance, and it will lead to plenty. But those who are hasty, which means those who just want to take the easy way out or just get it done, rush through it just so they can go to sleep or do what they want to do, it's going to lead to poverty. You're not going to truly work for what needs to be worked for. Verse 6: Getting treasures by a lying tongue is the fleeting fantasy of those who seek death. So, getting things in a deceitful manner, we've talked about this before, it's not going to, you're not working hard for it. So, it's not going to be a true blessing to you if you work for something in a deceitful way. It's not going to taste as good. See, it's better to work for something honestly and humbly and receive it as a blessing than it is to work for something in a deceitful way and just get it in that way. It's not gonna be as much of a blessing. Then verse 7: The violence of the wicked will destroy them because they refuse to do justice. Verse 8: The way of the guilty man is perverse, but as for the pure, his work is right. See, we need to walk with integrity and do what is good for the right reason. See, people can be wicked, but then they may go out and do something good, but they just do that because, oh, they're like, oh, you know I want people to see me as good. I don't, they use it for their own selfish gain. But no, for the pure, their work is right. They do it because it's good. They don't do it for any other reason. They do it to serve others and to serve God. And we look at verse 9. Better to dwell in a corner of a housetop than in the house shared with a contentious woman. We see this a lot in Proverbs of this contentious woman, and pretty much it means, a quarrelsome wife or a wife that's always nagging or arguing or putting you down for some reason. He's saying it's better to live in pretty much the attic of your house in a small corner than it is to share the whole house with the woman. So if that doesn't explain how bad it would be to live with this nagging woman. Verse 10, the soul of the wicked desires evil. His neighbor finds no favor in his eyes. Verse 11, when the scoffer is punished, the simple is made wise, but when the wise is instructed, he receives knowledge. See, for those who is a scoffer, or someone who doesn't have much wisdom, punishment is what is going to help them. But those who are already wise, they will accept instruction. They don't need to be punished because that's not going to help them. But instruction, they'll listen. They'll listen to you. So true wisdom, you need to listen. You need to accept and not be so stubborn. Verse 12, the righteous God wisely considers the house of the wicked, overthrowing the wicked for their wickedness. So God is going to consider those who are wicked. Leave them to God. God is going to take care of those who are wicked. Verse 13, whoever shuts his ears to the cry of the poor will also cry himself and not be heard. What you give meant be what you get. I'm not saying if you give a lot to the poor and you help the poor out that you're going to be rich as well. So that's the prosperity gospel that is wrong. No, you shouldn't give to the poor because you want something in return. You should give to the poor because you want to help them and you want to do it in the glory of God's name. And don't expect anything out of it. But there's a chance that God will bless you. He has before, and He blesses us in ways that we need all be thankful for. The fact you woke up this morning is a blessing from God, and we need to thank Him each morning for even waking us up. Verse 14, a gift in secret pacifies anger, and a bribe behind the back strong wrath. There's different ways. It could be the same thing you do to somebody, but it's the way you do it that matters. If you give a gift to somebody humbly and just to them, not in front of a crowd, if you just give it to them in a humble and pretty much asking for forgiveness kind of way, saying, here's this gift I'm giving to you, and it's just y'all two. So that's going to pacify anger. That's going to be better than just bribing him behind his back. That brings wrath. There's no sincerity to it. So be sincere when you do these things. Verse 15, it is joy for the just to do justice, but destruction will come to workers of iniquity. Verse 16, a man who wanders from the way of understanding will rest in the assembly of the dead. So don't wander away from understanding. Don't wander away from God. It's better to stay close to understanding and wisdom of God. Verse 17, he who loves pleasure will be a poor man. He who loves wine and oil will not be rich. Don't live for pleasure. It's not a bad thing to have pleasure once in a while, but your life needs to be filled with hard work and discipline, more so than pleasure. Save the pleasure after you have worked. Save the relaxing time. It's going to be better to relax after you've worked hard. Verse 18, the wicked shall be ransomed for the righteous, and the unfaithful for the upright. What this is saying is the wicked will take place of for the righteous for the punishment. So be on that righteous side, and one day we're going to be separated from the wicked, those who are in Christ. Verse 19, better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. Again, this is similar to verse 9. It's better to be in the wilderness, surviving, fending off wild animals, than it is to be in the house of an angry woman or a nagging wife. Verse 20, there's a desirable treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man squanders it. See, a foolish man will take a look at godly wisdom and not think much of it, and they're foolish for that. But a truly wise person will look at godly wisdom and seek it and desire it. Verse 21, he who follows righteousness and mercy finds life, righteousness and honor. So follow this way of life. Have mercy in your life and be upright, desire righteousness, hunger and thirst for it. Verse 22, a wise man scales the city of the mighty and brings down the trusted stronghold. Verse 23, whoever guards his mouth and tongue keeps his soul from troubles. Watch what you say is what that is saying. Verse 24, a proud and haughty man, scoffer is his name. He acts with arrogant pride. Don't be prideful, Be humble. Verse 25, the desire of the lazy man kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. Verse 26, he covets greedily all day long, but the righteous gives and does not spare. Don't be a lazy man. Don't. Whenever there's work to be done, do it. Don't procrastinate on it. And that's easier said than done at times. But just remember, nothing is impossible with the Lord. So do it in the name of the Lord. Don't do it for yourself. And it says, the righteous gives and does not spare. Be a giving person. This is right. Be a giving person. Don't be selfish with your possessions. Give what you have. And you can keep for yourself, but give what you can. Verse 27, the sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination. How much more when he brings it with wicked intent? See, an evil man might try and please God in his own way, but that doesn't matter because he's doing it with wicked intent. He's doing it for selfish gain. See, a true righteous person who has fallen will get back up and beg for God's mercy and beg for that and for his forgiveness, and will come to him humbly and saying, God, I don't deserve this forgiveness, but I'm coming to you. Verse 28, a false witness shall perish, but the man who hears him will speak endlessly. So don't be a false witness. Be truthful. Verse 29, a wicked man hardens his face, which means he is stubborn. But as for the upright, he establishes his way. So, have a path and go down it. And if hard things are going to come throughout life, and trials and hardships, but we can't, not go down that path just because it's going to be hard. We need to not be stubborn in a way and just accept it. Verse 30, there is no wisdom or understanding or counsel against the Lord. The Lord is righteous. The Lord is wisdom, righteousness. He is that. He's the source of that. There's no other way to get that except through him. And the last verse, verse 31, the house is prepared for the day of battle, but deliverance is of the Lord. So the Lord's already won. All right. So in life, and this is an important thing to say for anyone watching who is not sure where they're at in their salvation, or if they're not saved, they don't believe, they don't have faith in Christ. The simple way of putting this and the blunt way of putting this, you can either be on the losing side or you can be the side that's already won. God's already won. So it's only wise to choose the winning side. And anything besides the Lord is a losing side. It's a pretty obvious decision, but today's world, people don't realize how easy of a decision it is to just accept Christ and to follow him. Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's the right choice, and it's going to profit you so much more than living comfortably in this world. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you tomorrow.